the re-entry journey. What would be one word to describe this journey?
Enriching.
Unapologeticness.
Elevating.
Resilience.
I say transformation.
Intentional.
Blessing.
Rebirth.
The re-entry journey, the re-entry journey, the re-entry journey, the re-entry journey. All right, man. We are back. Y'all know what time it is. It's another night of the re-entry journey. I am your host, Cordell Sims, and like the song says, we're gonna make it. Y'all know we are. Tonight, our guests, I've been following our guests around for a while. I even got some chat cards in the mail, gave them out, made sure my family was safe and secure, to make sure they knew about the traps, that they knew what to do and not to do, be silent. I do agree that it might have to be strapped with the silence at the beginning. But I watched the journey, and then, like I said, man, probably like a month ago, I was watching Court TV, and like, oh, that's Traps. That's the Traps lady right there. I'm so glad to have you on our podcast, to go from being incarcerated to owning, not just becoming an attorney, but owning your own law firm. Yeah, man, that truly is a blessing. Thank you for coming on our show tonight. Our guest is Miss Kaysia Earley. Man, welcome to the reentry journey. We really appreciate you coming on.
And I respect the opportunity, the platform, everything that you're doing. I thank you so much, and I'm humbled to be here. So thank you.
All right. So, let's get into it. What was it like growing up in Miami, being raised in Miami?
You know, honestly, I didn't know I was poor at first, because you really don't know what level of poverty or what level of wealth you are until it's measured by something else. So I was cool. Like, my childhood was good. I mean, my dad left me when I was 8. So we had a period of, okay, dad's gone. But I will say my mother was resilient. She did not have a high school education. So we ended up going from North Miami from a 4-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom duplex in the middle of Alapata, Miami. That's like right there in the hood. And, initially it was good. The typical things that you do as a teenager, clubhouses, kickball, they don't do that anymore. But as I got older, into my teens, I started to realize that I just didn't have a sense of direction, because all I knew was drugs, or you got pregnant before you got to high school, or, you got pregnant when you were in high school. And my 2 older siblings, it's 8 of us now, my 2 older siblings, they were already pregnant. So they got the baby showers. And to me, I was like, oh, I want a baby shower. But if you don't know better, you can't do better. So I don't know what the Lord saw in my mom, but at the age of 14, she allowed me to move to DC. Now, she knew that I wanted to go into politics and ultimately become Madam President. So I guess she figured the closer I get to DC, the White House, the closer I get to my dreams. So ultimately, my childhood, it was great. It had its ups and downs, as any childhood would. But I will say one thing about growing up in poverty: it makes you not only resilient, but it gives you a sense of creativity. So I'm not doubting it at all. Like, I'm not even knocking how I grew up. It actually provided a blessing for me today.
So you said you grew up in poverty, right? But a lot of people don't understand. Sometimes when we grow up in poverty, that doesn't mean that our household internally is in poverty. You see what
That
I'm
is
saying?
correct. You're absolutely right.
Right. So what was the household environment like, in your household?
We were close. My siblings, I'm number 4 of 8. So we grew up very close. We always called the last 3 or the last 4 the 4 little ones, and the 4 big girls. So we were responsible for cooking, cleaning, making sure everything was done. Mama worked all the time, bless her heart. So growing up, we were very close, but we were very poor financially. But just like you said, being poor financially does not equate to being poor with love, because love is unconditional and it has no monetary value. So we definitely had love in the home. But, sometimes I make jokes because to kind of quantify how poor we were, we used to mix like red food coloring from Easter the year before and water and pretend we were drinking Kool-Aid. Because
Oh
mama ain't buy
wow!
sugar.
No,
You
I
ain't
ain't
hear
never
that
heard
one
of that one.
before.
Yeah, I'm about to say no, I
Listen,
ain't heard that one
listen,
before.
let me tell you. Here's another one. Here's another one. We didn't have a washing machine. So my mother, again, she had a lot of kids. So we used to wash our clothes in a bathtub, stomp on them like they were grapes, squeeze them out, and hang them on the line. Like when I think about how poor we were financially, I'm so humbled. I'm so humbled by it because that actually was the driving force for me to go to school, because I was the first one in my entire generation to go to college. I don't know what clicked in my head. I knew that if I go to school, I'll have a better opportunity. So that's my segue. Howard
Yeah,
University.
that's
That's
what I
where
was
it
about
kind
to
of
get
went
into.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was about to
that's
say
where.
so. Yeah, we been to college, so we in the college life. You know, I've been to college. I went to college life, and we came from similar situations. So when I got to college life, it was like a sense of freedom, and I
Yeah.
was just it was all to me. It was off to the races.
Who you
You know,
telling?
it's
Who you
off to the
telling?
races. It's off to
Listen,
the races.
listen. I even tell my kids, because I don't want them to see me as a perfect mom. Because
Right.
if you don't make yourself relatable to your children, then they're going to start withholding things. But let me tell
Mm-hmm.
you one thing for sure and two things for certain. My 2 years, not four, because 2 years I did it all. I ain't talking about drugs and stuff like that, because I never
Right.
the drug thing. Honestly, that wasn't for me. To this day, I don't even know how to puff a cigarette. That just wasn't for me. Now,
Exactly.
drinking, clubbing, that was my thing. So in 2 years, I just got it all, and I visited every club. That was me. The last 2 years, I met my boyfriend slash husband slash the judicial system and all that stuff. So there was like a fork, kinda, sorta in the road. But 2 years, Howard University gave me the best years of my life. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And you had quite a few nice little jobs during college, right?
Yes, I did. Okay, so my dad's Jamaican, so I always make this joke that I'm like a true Jamaican. So I worked full time on no, part time on campus. I had a full time job at a hotel. Then I had a part time job interning for the Congress, and then I was squeezing my fourth job while going to school full time. To this day, when I think about it,
You was getting it. You was hustling.
I don't know how I slept, truthfully, because I did graveyard shift at the hotel from 11 to 7. My class started at 8 o'clock.
Mm.
Okay. And then I would do my classes in the morning, and then at lunchtime, I would go do my second work study job at the library. I would find a corner and go to sleep, get a couple of snooze in. Like the way I did it, I don't think I slept. I don't.
Wow.
I don't think I slept, but yeah, I was working,
Mm-mm.
still working.
So, and one of them jobs at the shoe store.
Yeah, so I
So,
worked at, yeah. Okay,
go ahead.
you
Yeah,
really know me,
I mean, one
Mr.
of them jobs was
Sims.
one of them. Yeah, I've been doing some research. I've been doing some homework. You know, to really understand the journey, you really must know what a person actually been through and where was the fall. If you don't, where was the fall?
Yeah,
And so,
so
to go ahead,
I
because we
yeah,
were talking about the shoe store. We talking about the shoe
okay,
store.
but we got to back up just a second. Okay, so before I went to the shoe store, I worked at a clothing store. I worked at Macy's. So
Okay.
after I got my gear up, because I still had that hood mentality. So after
Mm.
I got my gear up, stealing and doing all these discounts, I quit the clothing store and I worked at DSW. And DSW, I was trying to get my shoe game up, right?
Right.
And let me tell you how good God is. Thank God He allowed me to get arrested with my shoe game, because my next step was Circuit City. Now, look, I'm dating
Mm.
myself.
You had in your mind you was working up the criminal ladder, and your
Listen, I got my clothes, I got my shoes. Now I needed electronics. So I started elevating my larceny or my stealing, embezzlement, call it what you want. It was wrong. I knew it was wrong, but I didn't think about the criminal implications that would be attached to it. I just thought, okay, y'all fired me. I'm good. I know how to get a job. I know how to fake it till I make it at an interview. But yeah, so I worked at the shoe store and I started giving discounts away once some of my classmates found out where I worked. Family members were coming up there. Y'all know who y'all are. I ain't gonna call y'all out. Look. If I had glasses on, I'll be looking under it like, family members, uncles came up in there, so they got those discounts too. So I was doing it too much, and it alerted corporate. So corporate, I came into work one day like a regular day. I got on the cash register as usual. I was the best employee though, just not an honest one.
Just not an honest one.
And so they like, my maiden name was Verity. Miss Verity, we don't need you on the cash register. I went to the back, and they said, well, we know that you have been heavily discounting items. We want you to give a statement, and then we'll let you go home. We'll even give you a bus pass. Now, I don't know what I was thinking because I remember calling my boyfriend, who's my husband at the time, and I was like, they just called me and they told me they want me to say, give a statement and then they'll let me go home. He's like, anything you do, don't give a statement.
Right.
What I do? I went in there and gave a statement and gave my signature of everything that I did because they were so nice to me. Next thing I know, I was like, am I getting my bus pass? It's like, they look at me like, you crazy? Then the cops came. I was like, are you serious? I'm about to graduate from college. I've never been arrested before. You really about to? And so I got arrested that night. And I'll never forget, that was the most humiliating experience ever because, like I said, I was a top employee. I did everything. Everyone loved me. And I was more ashamed of and upset and hurt that I let my fellow coworkers down. And to be escorted out of this shoe store in handcuffs, they put me in the back of this van that had other handcuffed men and women.
They put you in the paddy wagon?
Didn't they?
Oh man, they put you in the paddy wagon.
Now I'm handcuffed, riding to the jail, and I'm just thinking about, what did I just do? How did I go from being the first person in my entire generation to go to college, about to graduate, to being amongst these criminals? Let's keep it real. Right. This is how society views, and this is exactly how I view criminals. You all are not on my level. And let me tell you something, God will humble you in a minute. Pride comes before a fall. So I get arrested, I bond out that night, and I'm thinking, okay, good, I dodged a bullet, I'm about to be out of here. So my court date for sentencing, because I had a public defender, I was in college, even though I had all those jobs, I was actually paying for my tuition because my mother, they wouldn't give her financial aid for whatever reason. So right. I didn't have the money. So I had this public defender, and this is what made me get into criminal law, because I feel like he could have fought for me. I could have got into a program or something. I was a first-time offender. Don't just look at my file and say, well, you gave a statement, that's it. Like, convert me into someone, from an inmate to someone. They didn't. The prosecutors didn't even know I was in college. They didn't know anything. So I felt like he didn't fight for me. So my sentencing date was it was an open plea. Ooh. And I didn't know nothing about that. Like, I didn't know nothing about nothing. All I knew was he kept saying, oh, don't worry, you're a first-time offender, you'll just get probation. I'm like, okay. So next thing I know, the judge sentencing me to jail. I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, no.
I'm about to graduate in 2 weeks. If I go to jail right now, Your Honor, I can't walk across the stage. And so all I did was cry. And through my tears, I became a lawyer at that very moment, and I pleaded my case. And I said, Your Honor, I said, I am graduating in 2 weeks. I said, if you give me permission to turn myself in, I promise you, if you can delay my sentence, I promise I will turn myself in. So he's like, all right. So I walked across that stage, and then I had to turn myself in. And
now, what was that feeling like? Knowing that you got to walk across the stage, but knowing after I walk across the stage, I got to go turn myself in to go do some time. Like, what was that feeling like?
first of all, I try to keep it a secret from my whole family because I felt like I didn't want to be a disappointment. Everyone looked up to me and my family, even though they was, in on the game and stuff like that. They still looked up to me. So I tried to keep my incarceration a secret. I kept my arrest a secret. It eventually came out, but who cares? But I didn't know what to expect in jail. Okay, so I was not saved at that moment, but I was raised in the church. I heard bad things about jail, and I was like, I am not being anyone's female up in there. So, okay. So at the time, I was looking all pretty. I had weave, so I take the weave out, and then I put my hair in cornrows, and then I look at myself in the mirror right before I turn myself in. I was like, this ain't gonna work. Now I look too masculine.
Said now you look like you going to be looking for a girlfriend.
So I took the braids out. So here I am confused. My main thing was I ain't being nobody's female friend. Okay, I don't roll like that. That's not for me. And I couldn't fight because I was pregnant. So I said, what can I do? Because that's not happening. That's the only thing in my head. I was like, that's not happening. Unborn child, you want to strap up because we ain't going to do that. So I turned myself in, and it was so violating. They strip you, bend over, cough. I'm like, what y'all doing? I'm saying this in my head because they were so rude to me. They didn't know. Let me tell you, when you walk through them cells, you are inmate number 74352. You're not your first or last name. So just the whole experience, the clothes that I had to wear, the underwear, I'm being as explicit as possible because it's not a place you want to be, but unfortunately society, music glorifies it. It's like a badge of honor, but really it was so humiliating, the strip search. I was pregnant. I had this ring on. To this day, I still have it on because it can't come off. The CEO was practically breaking my hand to take it off. All of that I remember. To this day, what scars me are the sheets. I know this is crazy, but I can't sleep on lint balls. I can't sleep on lint balls, and I can't drink milk straight because that's what I had. So it's little things that bothered me, but it was the strip search that did it for me. I was like, you just stripped my whole being.
And it's like it's a form of humiliation.
Yeah.
To me, when I go speak, especially like to the people that haven't been to prison and most likely they troubled teens, I will go in there and I would tell them like that's the most humiliating thing that I ever had to endure in my life. Not only that, the first time it happened to me, but then when I want to go on visits and everything else, I had to do this thing over. You know how many times or stuff gets on lockdown. We're gonna come in here, and, So yeah, it's just crazy how.
And they do that now. Even when I visit my clients in jail, I forgot about that. And then, when I saw that they were searching my client, I was like, dang, I forgot. So when you make your visits as attorneys, you better be bringing something of substance to them because they got to go through that every time.
Go through that every time, right?
Yeah. So that to me.
There and back. That's 2 times 1 trip.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So
it is.
You in jail, you incarcerated.
Yeah.
First day you go through the craziest stuff that you possibly can go through. They give you any and everything. Give you used underwear. Everything's used. And you go into the pod or you going, what's your thoughts like, man? You already said you had your, from what you've seen on TV and stuff, you already got your mind made up. How do you think this is going to go now that you're here? What is it like?
Well, when I got there, they put me in a quad with 2 other girls. And the first thing I did was I said to myself, okay, I can't sleep on the top bunk. But they were already there. And the top bunk is not the most desirable bunk. I mean, it's just the little things, right? So I said, okay, I got to be smart about this because I'm pregnant and they don't have to give up their bunk. So I kind of came in there humble. And I said, listen, I said, I know this is y'all bunk or whatever. I said, but I'm pregnant and I sleep well and I might fall off this bed. And we became close from that. I think they had some sympathy, and I was like, okay, bet. So I started giving them my commissary. I was like, okay, yeah, because I didn't come in there looking for any trouble, but I didn't want to come in there also being someone's punk. All right.
Right.
So we hit it off a couple of times, and then a few days in, I called my boyfriend, and I was complaining. Now I know they record calls, but I didn't think they listened to it. That's the thing.
They gonna listen to it.
Listen, I made every mistake in the book. So I called him and I'm like, they feeding me this nasty food and it's not enough. Mind you, the judge never knew no one knew that I was pregnant. I was about 4 months pregnant. So I wasn't really showing. So no one questioned me. So they must have listened to my calls. Next thing I know, I get a knock on my cell, Miss Earley. I'm like, oh, I'm getting out. They put me in solitary confinement.
Ooh.
So
it's 1.
23. It might as well have been 24 for me because sometimes I didn't even get out to shower. Yes, I said it. Because it's like, what you getting out for? I mean, I'm going back in them dirty sheets.
Right.
So sometimes I was on lockdown. I counted all of the cinder blocks. I knew how many numbers of the cinder blocks. I started talking to myself, but God is so good because he allowed me to be pregnant while incarcerated. Had I not been pregnant, I would have went crazy. So I found time to go by a little faster by playing with my belly, shaking it, he kicking me back, moving it, thinking of names, So they put me in solitary confinement. And that's where I literally surrendered. I don't want to say gave my life to Christ, but I surrendered to his will that I was running away from for years.
And by surrendering, what had to take place during this surrender?
Okay, so for those who don't know, when you're in jail, your door buzzes. You got to get your door to get your food. So when my door buzzed, your body is automatically trained. But on this particular morning, when I got up, I felt myself falling over because my legs felt like they were dead. And in a split second, I had to think, do I fall on my knees or do I fall on my belly? If I fall on my belly to buffer my knees, and this is concrete, right? I'm going to kill my unborn child. So literally all this is going through my head. Like, how do I fall? I felt like I was falling in slow motion. So I ended up falling on my knees. As I fell on my knees, I'm crawling to the door because if you miss the buzz, you got to wait till food circulation go around. By the time they go around, your food is cold.
Yeah.
So as I'm crawling to the door, it was as if the Lord himself visited me. And I know that oftentimes when you're incarcerated, people find religion, right? But I was already raised in the church. I just did my own thing when I went to college. So this is more of God saying, come back, daughter. Come back now. I've humbled you. I've got your attention. Come back. So as I was on my knees, it was like I saw a vision. It was a crossroads because literally I was pregnant. I never told my husband, but my plan was I was going to have this baby and I was going to move to New York and I was going to go in the fashion industry because I felt that now that I was incarcerated, I could never be a lawyer. I didn't have a mentor, so I didn't know. I was going to leave him because I wasn't married to him. So I didn't tell him no. So that was my crossroads. So the Lord told me, okay, if you go down that path, it's going to lead to a path of destruction. But if you follow me, if you serve me, you will be the top lawyer. I'm like, lawyer, how can I be a lawyer and I'm incarcerated? So now I forgot about the food at this point, and I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do with my life when I get out? And from that point on, I started to read the Bible and go to church. When I got out, we got baptized. I went to church. I went to marriage counseling, married my husband, 9 months pregnant, and then I had my son and been saved ever since.
Oh, wow. Ooh. So it came to that point to where you had to ask, like, what are you going to do with yourself? Like, what are you going to do when you get out?
Yeah.
So, he told you lawyer.
I always wanted to be one. Yeah.
Like, how am I going to do that now after, I'm coming from? So now this is your journey now. You already know what you're coming out to do.
There you go.
Tell me about this journey, because I know this is woo. This had to be the
Yeah.
hard one,
Yeah.
and
So
not just hard on the physical, but hard on the inner to say I'm choosing to do this, not knowing if I'm going to be able to get this in the end, but I'm going to do this.
what you just said, although it was a 7 year delay. So I get out of jail. I'm like, okay, what can I do with my life now? So I get this job as a paralegal because I was like, okay, I can't be a lawyer. I already put it in my head. I thought I couldn't be a lawyer. So the next best thing is a paralegal. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
working in downtown DC at the most prestigious law firm I could find because I could always ace an interview. Okay.
Right.
So she got into this law firm, and then I got another job at the government. And for 7 years goes by. Oh gosh, this is a revelation. This is the first time I ever said this. I was at work and I came across an article. This is what made me take the LSAT of
Mm.
a formerly incarcerated felon. I don't know what his charge was. It was a serious charge, and he was a lawyer. So I'm reading this article at work, and I'm saying to myself, well, his charge is more serious than mine. How did he become? I thought so. I'm asking myself all these questions. I'm like, so on a whim, I said, okay, if he could be a lawyer, it was like the vision of what God told me 7 years prior. 7 is the number of
Right.
completion.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately I signed up to take the LSAT. I passed the LSAT with a score. I call a law firm in Florida because I mean, not a law firm, a law school in Florida because I knew I wanted to come back home. This is a full circle because remember my
Yeah.
mom made me move to DC.
You see, right.
And I was just calling for questions. I said, hey, my LSAT score is this. I'm thinking about applying next year. And the guy, to this day, we're friends. He said, well, why next year? Why don't you apply now? I was like, well, I don't know. He said, apply. I applied that week. The following week, I got a call. I got a scholarship. This is in February now.
Ooh.
February, I get a call. By June, we packed up our entire house. Thank God for my husband. He quit his job as a commercial construction worker,
Mm.
and he gave it all up for moi. Okay.
He's seen it, but he's seen it in you through all this time. He's seen it in you. You know.
He's seen it in me, and because of his sacrifice, when the going got tough when I was in law school, I refused to quit. Like I was homeless in law school. A lot of people don't know that because everybody worry about the jail story, but they don't know that when we moved down to Florida, 3 months into moving down, our ceiling just collapsed. We were renting out a house,
Oh, wow.
and the ceiling collapsed, and the city declared our house uninhabitable and gave us 3 days to move out. And I couldn't stay with family, so we lived in a hotel, and I couldn't go to a shelter because they was going to split us up. My husband go to the men's shelter. So I was like, okay, well, babe, how about you just go back to Philly, because he's from Philly, and we'll go in the shelter with the kids. And he's like, nah. So we lived in a hotel, maxed out all our credit cards while I was in law school. So when you talk about perseverance, I'm like, God, this is going to have to work because now I'm down here. So yeah, homeless, jail, incarceration, poverty, blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Wow. And it could easily knock you off your path.
It could.
To what you destined to do, but you stayed on. So when it came to the point where you got that letter congratulating you on the passing that board, what was that like? Did everything that you just named, did all of that flash through your head?
Let me tell you, to this day, I count it as a privilege and honor every time I see ESQ behind my name, because there's so many obstacles that you have to overcome. And get this, you said this earlier that I went to law school, but even though I passed the bar, you still have to go before a board and convince them that you're rehabilitated from your past indiscretions. Because my past indiscretion was a crime of dishonesty, I had to go before a board after passing the bar, after graduating from law school. And they grilled me for 3 hours. It was 5 people. And I never forget, I skimmed the room real quick. And I was like, okay, it's 4 whites, 1 black. I said, that brother got me. Tell me why that brother was the one that was grilling me the most.
Oh yeah, that's cold blooded. I don't understand that. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Unless he was trying to be hard and then advocating on me on the back end. I don't know. But I walked
Right.
out of that boardroom feeling like I was like, you know what? I went to law school for nothing. They're not going to allow me to be sworn in. And I think 3 weeks later, I got the letter. Congratulations, Miss Earley. You are now permitted to be officially sworn into the Florida bar as an attorney. So I always say it was from the jailhouse to God's house to the courthouse to the White House.
Ooh, that's the next
Ah!
step. The White. No, that's the next step. The White House, and
That's the last. That's the
it's
last
possible.
step. That's the
It's
last step.
possible. The last step is the White House.
Yeah, we getting
Yeah.
there.
Yes,
We get
you might
well.
get
That's no. You
you
know what?
get
I'm
you
not
gonna
gonna
get in
put
the White
limits.
House, and then there's gonna be something else after that.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna put limits on what God can do.
Yeah.
Because if He can cause the sun and the moon and stars to shine and go here and go there, then I'm not gonna put limits. That's just another chapter in my book.
Right. So let's talk about traps.
Traps, yes, my baby.
People gonna be tuning in. Um, I think this what trap means, what it stands for, is really important. I think everyone, especially young, black, male or female, you need to have
Mm-hmm.
these in your vehicles with you all the time, so
At
you
all
really know,
times.
so you can really know and understand what this means. So, go ahead and talk about trap for us.
Okay, so I'm gonna break it down real quick. So I came up with traps because I used to be a public defender. And one thing I realized as a public defender, I was in the juvenile department and they were being arrested because they were telling on themselves. All they had to do was remain silent, or they were giving the officers permission to search them. I'm like, but then I thought about it. I didn't really know my legal rights until I went to law school, if you want to keep it real, okay?
Right.
So if I didn't know my legal rights, it took me to go to law school, then how many civilians out there don't know their basic constitutional rights? So one night I wrote this down and I came up with this as a way of civilians knowing their rights to fight back because we know officers have Miranda cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these are trap cards. So we're gonna even that playing field. You know, when you see the scales of justice, it's like even.
Yeah.
Without traps, you like you done.
Right.
You gonna get arrested.
Yeah,
And you might get convicted. Okay.
Going on in.
So traps, real quick, and we ain't talking about the trap house. Okay, we talking about the traps of the legal system because there's many traps. T.R.A.P.S. Boom, boom. T.R.A.P.S. T stands for don't get tricked. An officer will legally lie to you to incriminate you to get incriminating information. So don't get tricked. R stands for be respectful. A dead man can't talk. On the side of the road is not your place to prove your manhood. Let me do that. I could do that on cross-examination. I promise you, I would tear that officer up. But don't you do that. Be respectful. A stands for you have a right to a free attorney. And that's called a public defender, or you have a right to an attorney. So why are you talking to law enforcement officers without an attorney? P stands for never, ever give permission for an officer to search your house, your car, or your belongings. And don't just say, nah, don't search me. Say, I don't consent to this search. Because when you utilize legal terminology, it's like kryptonite. I'm telling you, those officers begin to melt. A red flag goes up. They're like, wait a minute, this person knows their rights. They're not going to mess with you like that. And last but not least, which should go first, but silence is golden. Do not speak. An officer will read you your Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do can and will be used against you in the court of law. Knowing your rights, would you like to speak to me? I wish to remain silent and I would like to speak to my attorney. So for the past 6 years now, I've passed out thousands of these. Like I'm printing like 5,000 a month. And I mail them out absolutely free. You ask for 100, I'm sending you 100. You ask for 30, and then basically what you're supposed to do is put it on your visor. So whenever you get pulled over, you can read from it verbatim. You don't even have to give the officer eye contact because what would they say? Oh, he had bloodshot eyes. Well, how you know I got bloodshot eyes if we don't have eye contact? Because your body cam going to be on, okay? All you gotta say is, officer, I wish to remain silent. I do not consent to a search, and I would like to speak to my attorney. That's it. Keep looking forward. Anything else, officer? You might want to show me your card. It's my T.R.A.P. card. That's your power. So if you want a card, you reach out to me. You can Google my name. That's it.
There it is. T.R.A.P.S.
That's the goal. Traps.
And why is it important? Because you said it, and I just want to reiterate it. Why is it important to be respectful? Because a lot of people they want to argue their case, and you got a racist cop or scary cop, they can change quickly. Respect.
Yeah, I say that because, again, a dead man can't talk. If you're disrespectful and you come across a road cop and you just got him on his bad day, who's to say, let's just hypothetically speaking, if he shoots you, nobody can footage on, is your dead word against his. Like, I mean, is it worth it? But I mean, I understand it's hard because look, I get pulled over all the time because I got a speeding problem. You think they would just leave? You think they would just leave me alone because it says top lawyer on my tags? But it's all good because they don't show up anyway. They probably Google my name after they write that ticket.
Right.
But I'm just kidding. But I find myself feeling like, okay, Kaysia, you're not in the courtroom. Be respectful, because when I'm in court and you're on the stand and you don't answer my question in front of the jury, oh, we're going toe for toe. Because what you going to do? Get off the stand and shoot me? Nah. But let your lawyer fight for you. But I know it's a man thing. And these officers know that. If they can challenge your manhood, they got you. But we have power over the enemy. And right now, them officers, they're our enemy. Let's face it.
Yeah, true indeed. So I got two more questions. One is, somebody's getting out of incarceration tomorrow and they happen to stumble across this video. They happen to stumble across this interview or even the audio. And they get to a point where they thinking what they really want to do now day out, there's no way they can do it because they was incarcerated. What message do you have for them?
Says who? Okay. It's not over until God says it's over. And that's another reason I started my law firm, because I was tired of explaining my past indiscretions. When you are an entrepreneur, you answer to no one but yourself. And I know it's not easy. I mean, I had to get a regular job. I had to go into the workforce. But after a while, there's options for you. And look at the platform that we have now. I utilize my past incarceration to encourage others. So there's so many things that you can do. Do not let your record, no matter how egregious it is, you should be thankful that you're even out and not serving a life sentence. I have clients right now that's facing life. So the fact that you're out, you're smelling, tasting, feeling freedom, utilize that to become a productive member of society. And there's no holes, no barriers, because again, my father wasn't in my life. I grew up in poverty. I was incarcerated, premarital, with my husband, had a baby out of wedlock. So all these obstacles in my way. But I held on the promises of God, who told me I would be a top lawyer. And you see that? Look at that. All that on the wall. I serve a God that can't lie, okay? Can't even fit on the camera. The promises are yay.
Ooh. I did have two questions, but when you said something, another question popped up because I did have it written down, but I didn't even ask it. What's that courtroom action like? You're in that courtroom, and I've been in the courtroom. I went to trial, I lost.
Because you ain't have me.
I went to had you.
No. Let me say this. Let me stay humble. I mean, I've won more cases than I lost. Like when I hear guilty, I hear it very rarely, right? Like I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all forgot the knot? Okay. So that's a good thing. I'm used to winning so many cases that I don't know how it feels to lose. But on the flip end, as an attorney, I try every and any case, even if the facts are bad, because sometimes the offer from the prosecutor is, we might as well, if you're going to offer me 10 years, then I might as well go to trial and see if the judge would give me 10. The cases that I got guilty was really because the prosecutor would not give me a better offer. And then sometimes my client would be found guilty and get a lighter sentence. I never forget, I had a client who was faced with life and they was giving him 20 years. At trial, he was found guilty of a lesser included, which was battery.
Mm.
And the judge was like, okay, you can go. You already served enough time. So
Oh,
that
wow.
was, so even though it was a guilty, it still was a win because instead of armed burglary, he got the lesser included, which was battery, credit time served. So sometimes you just
Right.
can't count guilties. You gotta see the whole picture.
Oh, One word to describe this journey. What is that one word and why?
Blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed because God gave me, I don't even want to say a second chance, third, fourth, fifth. He's a God of countless chances. When I look back over my life and I see where I came from and where I'm at today, it's overwhelming. It's emotional. I'm grateful and I'm blessed and highly favored.
Mm.
This is what God has done for me.
And nothing more to ask for. So there we have it. We had another great interview on the reentry journey. We'd like to thank you. For those that might want to get in contact with you, could you point them in the direction, social media, email?
Real simple. Just Google my first and last name, Kaysia Earley. Or if you're on Instagram or Facebook, it's the same. I have two, Kaysia Earley, my first and last name, or Earley Law Firm, Earley. Reach out to me, DM me, give me some time. I'm a solo practitioner, but I will definitely respond and give you your TRA.P card. So make sure you get your TRA.P cards.
Most definitely.
And
Y'all make sure.
I'm gonna send you some more too.
Yeah, I need some more. And y'all make sure those that tune in, y'all make sure that y'all get in contact with and get y'all some TRA.P cards as well, because you need them and people in your neighborhood need them. If you got children that's driving, they need them
They
as
need
well.
them. Yeah.
Most definitely. Once again, thank you for coming on the reentry journey. We appreciate you sharing your story with us. Anything that we can ever do or help out in any kind of way, don't be afraid to reach out to us. We really here. We really love doing what we do. And once again, thank you a lot. We appreciate you giving us your time and sharing your story with us and the knowledge and the traps. Don't get
Thank
caught up
you.
in it. Don't get caught up in
Don't.
the trap. Again, I
Don't.
say, don't get tricked. Then
Uh-uh.
be respectful.
There you
You
go.
got the right to an attorney. Never give permission. That means like don't be playing around, even act like you're gonna give permission. But what'd you say? Make sure you say it in the right way though. It's not, no, you can't search my car. You know,
I don't consent to the
I
search.
don't consent to the search. I'll remember
Mm-hmm.
that. Was that and then the last one, silence.
Silence is golden. Shut your mouth. I
That's
really
it.
want to say shut your mouth. I was like, let me be a little nice about it.
Right.
Silence. Silence.
Yeah,
Shut
just
up.
silent. Yeah.
What
Oh
you talking
man.
about? But it's a
So
pleasure. I really appreciate it. We got to do this again. We'll do a part two, but
oh yeah, most definitely.
I'll continue to fight and you continue to fight for the cause because we know that jail is not supposed to rehabilitate, it's supposed to punish, but we're going to rehabilitate our brothers and sisters. We're all in this together.
That's right. And there you have it. This is another episode of the Reentry Journey. I'm your host, Cardell Sims, signing off. And remember, like you said in the beginning, we going to make it.
We
Good
going to
night.
make it. Good night.